Hi, I'm Zed.
Hi, I'm P.
Welcome to the Not Your Typical Sister podcast. We're two brown girls trying to open the conversation and share our experiences on taboo subjects.
We're not experts or doctors, so we recommend speaking to a professional if you need help or advice. So grab a cuppa, sit back and enjoy the podcast.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of Not Your Typical Sister. Today we will be talking about gender roles and how they are perceived in our community. So hi P, how are you?
I am good, thanks. Roasting a little bit. How are you?
I'm good. It's really hot. So today we are actually recording from Morocco, which is really exciting.
Very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't been on a trip together for so long.
Yeah, that is so true. It's been a very long time, but I'm glad we finally did it.
Yeah, exactly. So P, what would you say is the role of a woman in our community?
So I think in my opinion, I almost feel like a woman's place is sort of inferior to that of a man. And I feel like she's almost allocated jobs. No one said it, it's not a rule or anything, but society just thinks of it in a way that this is the woman's job. For example, all the housework, all the cooking, all the cleaning, looking after the kids, etc., etc. That should be a woman's job. And I feel like that's still prevalent in our community. Although the world outside us has changed a little bit, I feel like the mindset of like our community especially, I feel it's still the same.
Yeah. So basically all the domestic duties are assigned to the woman, whereas the man's just out there to earn the living and put the roof over your head while the woman stays at home and looks after everything else, basically. Yeah, definitely. I think the same as well. I mean, obviously it's changed and we can talk about that later, but I do feel like as if with women, with us as women, we have to like constantly, I certainly feel like I have to justify my actions. Or for example, just coming here on our trip, or when I told someone that I was going away for a break with my friend, I couldn't just leave it at that. I couldn't say just say, oh yeah, I'm going for the weekend away with my best friend. I had to say, so basically, this is the reason why I'm going. This is how long I'm staying. This is who's going. Like these are the people that are going to, or my husband's going to look after their kids, and this is what they're going to be doing. And it's like I have to earn my place. Like I have to justify my reason for going away, and I have to, earn this holiday by having done something, or I work really hard. That's why I'm going away for a little while.
Yeah.
Whereas my husband, when he's going away for a break, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to answer to any questions, or oh, how come you're going, or who are you going with, or when are you going to be back, and what's going to happen to the kids. And he doesn't have to answer all these questions because no one asks him those kind of questions. And even he actually said to me, why are you justifying it to everyone? Like, why do you feel the need to explain yourself? It's like as if you almost feel like you don't deserve this holiday.
Yeah.
Like you have to be deserving of it. No, you don't. You're just going away for a few days.
Yeah.
And you do so much anyway. So why can't you take a break? Why can't you take a bit of a time out?
Yeah, that's so true. You're so right. It's just how we put these things on ourselves when we don't really have to. But I also feel like there are certain people. So like, for example, you said you're having to justify it. Who do you think that you're justifying it to? Or have you come across like certain scenarios? I know you've probably spoken to people, but who do you feel the most that you've got to justify it to?
So I generally think that when it comes to justifying or explaining yourself or just answering questions, I feel like it's women putting pressure on other women, which is really sad. I think that we should be building each other up instead of having that negative stance. And I'm not saying that every woman is like this, of course not. Like you and I, we're definitely not like that. But I'm just saying like that maybe perhaps certain auntie types, not all you aunties out there by the way, but auntie types who ask these questions and put this pressure on, and it's just there's so much negativity. Perhaps it's coming from a place where they aren't able to do the same things, so they feel like as though, oh, we've never done anything like that, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And it's like a shock to the system.
Yeah. Like how dare you leave your children and go on holiday? Like who's going to look after them? Or something's going to happen to them while you're gone. It's like that automatic reaction, isn't it? Like if you're not at home to look after your kids, then how are they going to survive essentially?
But they almost forget that they're not just my kids.
Yeah.
like my husband is more than capable of looking after them. In fact, in certain aspects, sometimes he's even better because the kids don't play up as much with him as they do with me.
Yeah.
So there's so much pressure, and it's just, I don't know, it's just not right.
Yeah.
It's not right to put that much pressure on other people, especially as women. We go through so much. We have so many responsibilities already. We put pressure on ourselves.
Yeah.
Is one thing, but other women putting pressures on us, and then by them doing that, it almost explains away men doing it. Like if men do it, it's like, oh yeah, but the women say it anyway. So you're not helping each other.
Yeah. And it's also like, what are you teaching your sons? You're not teaching them how to treat women properly, how to look after their wives, essentially.
It's like what were we talking about the other day? So this is obviously, like I say, I have to caveat everything. It's not every single family, but some women want for example, they want the perfect son-in-law who looks after their daughter.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean, don't you? You know where I'm going with this. So they want the son-in-law who looks after their kids and does the cooking and looks after his wife for their daughter.
Yeah.
But if their son did that for the daughter-in-law, it's like, huh?
Why are you doing that?
Yeah. Why are you cooking for her? Why are you looking after? Why are you making the roti? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah. Does your wife not know how to do stuff?
Yeah.
Can your wife not cook? Isn't it? Can your wife not cook?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
But what is this? The son has to have a very domesticated wife who is very obedient and does everything without hesitation, without question, no challenges, chup chop, like whatever. She's very quiet. But the daughter has to have a husband who's very obedient and domesticated. What is this? Why are there two different rules?
Yeah.
And it's not fair. And you're bringing your sons up to think like that. But surely you should be bringing your sons up to, I don't know what Xavier's going to be like older, but I'm hoping he's going to be the kind of man who looks after his wife or his partner and looks after his sister and looks after women in general. Not, oh, I'm better than you, so, I'll sit on the table while you sit on the floor and eat with the kids.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that in some families. Like, that's the norm.
Yeah.
The men sit on the dining table and the women and the children sit on the floor.
Yeah. What about letting the men eat first as well?
Oh, yeah. That's another one.
The men first. Yeah. Like, women can't eat first. Men have to go first. You have to feed them first. You have to make their plates. You have to do everything.
Yeah. And how, in which, maybe in the previous centuries this was considered okay. But how is that okay now? Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
And just going back to your point about how you're bringing up Xavier, dare I mention the word like feminism? I feel like people think that a feminism isn't for men.
Yeah.
It isn't for men at all. It's like a man can't be a feminist's ally, essentially.
No. It's like as if they're, going against or maybe backstabbing their own kind by supporting women's rights. But these men, would you like your daughter to be treated the same way as you're saying that this person, this other girl who is someone else's daughter, who is someone else's wife, who is someone else's mother, would you like your daughters to be treated like that? And when it comes down to that, when you put that into their heads, it's like, oh, of course, how would my daughter be treated like that? Are you insane?
Yeah.
But someone else's daughter can be treated like that.
Yeah. I feel like people don't even understand feminism in itself. And that's the reason why they're like so against it. You mentioned the word and people are like gasping almost. You know what I mean? Like, it's like what we're fighting for is equality. It's equality for men and women. We're not ruling men out and saying that, as a feminist, you're not ruling men out and saying that all men are bad and all men are like this, all men are like that. You just want equality for everyone.
Yeah.
You just want to be treated fairly.
Yeah.
The way you should be treated, really.
Yeah, of course. The way you just want to be treated like a basic human, not as something who's, not good enough.
Yeah.
Or not worth it.
Yeah.
And why are women not worth the same as a man?
Yeah.
Like, even on, this might sound a bit silly, but even on like some family trees I've seen, only the men are recorded. Only the men and the male sort of descendants are recorded on the family tree.
That's shocking. So what about daughters? Daughters are not put on there?
No, daughters, wives, mums. No, they don't. So the family tree just continues with the man. It doesn't continue with the daughter.
So if you married, your husband would be on the tree, but on your family tree essentially, but you wouldn't be on your family tree?
No, and if Xavier didn't exist, there would be no further lineage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the thing is, this gender inequality, it's not just in our community. And I know that for a fact because a few years ago, I was training, mentoring a couple of graduates who were both men, or both boys, I guess. So they just graduated and they were training underneath me. And we were basically going for a meeting with a client. And I walk in with them. And obviously, I'm quite short anyway, so they're both taller than me. But automatically, the client looks at them for where the questions are going to start, the introduction, the hello, hi, how are you? And they disregard me because I'm a girl. And then I obviously went forward and I said, hi, we're leading this meeting, blah, blah, blah. And I started explaining. And then that's when it hit them that, hold on a second, she's in charge.
Yeah.
It's not the boys.
Yeah.
And the shock
Wow.
on his face, because this was a man, even if it was a woman, the women did the same thing, to be fair. They automatically look at the man as the man will be leading the meeting. The woman won't be leading the meeting. And this wasn't our community. So I think I think all three of them were white, to be fair. But it doesn't really matter. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
The same thing. You walk somewhere and let's go on to safety, for example. Women are not safe by themselves.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. Women are not safe by themselves. But why aren't they safe? Because they're not perceived as being strong. They're perceived as being weak, vulnerable, and incapable of looking after themselves.
Oh my God, yes.
When we're nothing but that.
Yes.
Or we're anything but that. It really makes you probably can tell from my tone of voice, but it makes my blood boil.
No, definitely. I hate the fact that women are seen to be weaker. So similarly to you in a place of work, I've also been made to feel like I'm sort of inferior. So at one point I was working with, and I don't want to single out Arab students, but I was working with Arab students, and not all of them are like this again. But I had a student who literally refused point blank to speak to me because I was a woman and I was in charge, and I was the only person that was able to help him sort the issue out that he needed to sort out, but he refused point blank to speak to me. So I literally said to him, if you don't want to speak to me, that's absolutely fine, but just know one thing: nobody else in this place is going to be able to help you. So you either talk to me or you leave. It's as simple as that. And very quickly his attitude changed. But in that moment, I felt like I had to stand up for myself. There was nobody else there who was going to, Zed. And that's the saddest thing.
Yeah, that's a really sad thing, but no one will stick up for you. You have to stand up for yourself. And like I said earlier, you have to fight for yourself. Like, we have to try so much harder to be in the same position or as close to a similar position as our male counterparts. It's like we have to fight harder for the same job, for a promotion. We have to work harder for every single thing. And the problem is, for example, if there's a promotion at work and there's a man going for it and there's a woman going for it, now the man will be just thinking, you know what, let's try for it, let's see if I can get the promotion. The woman will be thinking, hold on a second, will I be able to maintain my work-life balance? Will I be able to maintain my family? Will I be able to, deal with the extra pressures of this? Am I worth it? There's a million sort of doubts that we have in our head. I'm not saying all men don't have doubts, but it's just biological. We have more doubts in our head because the society makes us like that. No. It puts those doubts in our head because we don't have that self-worth.
Yeah.
And even at this stage, like for example, you just gave the example of the Arab student. That must have been so hard for you to stand up for yourself and say that.
Yeah, definitely. And on that point that you just made, I read a fact this morning actually that it said something like, if a man and a woman were applying for a job, a woman would look at the job criteria and she would only apply for the job if she meets 100% of the criteria, whereas a man would apply for the job if he met 60% of the criteria.
Oh my goodness.
That's just saying something, isn't it?
Yeah. Because we bring our children up, or we bring the boys up to think, you can achieve anything. You can shoot for the stars. You can get any job you want. Whereas with the girls, we're so much more careful. And we're so much more like, you know what, maybe you should go in this kind of role, or a safer option. One where you'll fight less battles. And then as a result, the girls don't think they are capable of reaching for the stars.
Yeah. For example, look at the way it is now to be an influencer or a digital creator or something to do with social media, right? Mm. If you're a boy, by all means, go ahead and do it. It's the best career for you. But if you're a girl, why do you want to put your pictures up? Why do you want to do you know what I mean? Yeah. Why do you want to show yourself on social media? You shouldn't be doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Like, I'll be honest, myself, when I'm doing like short snippets for the podcast,
Yeah.
or doing a picture of myself, or doing a selfie and talking into the video camera, literally I'm cringing on the inside
Yeah.
because I'm not used to it. And you just think to yourself, oh, I know I'm being a bit hypocritical when I say this, but I'm thinking, oh my God, what is someone going to think?
Yeah.
And then I push that thought aside. No, I have to do this. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to do this. A boy would never have those same issues because they're not told to be extra careful or extra vigilant. Or there's nothing wrong with being safe. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying try not to, bring them up so differently.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very, very hard. I'm not going to deny that because this world is very cruel, especially to women. It is cruel.
Yeah.
But we can make these small, small changes because the roles have changed.
Yeah. I just thought of another example actually. So, my mum works in a school, right?
Yeah.
And she had like a group of children that she was talking to. She actually told me the story. I was like, oh, that's such a cute story. So there was a kid in our class who actually is really good at writing stories and writing articles, etc. And they gave a story obviously to my mum to read, and my mum was like, that's really good. Why don't you think about like becoming a journalist or something like that? And I think the kid was a bit taken aback because they didn't feel like that was an option for them. You know what I mean? I think it dawned on them that, oh my God, yes, I can actually do that. But because of the background and because of the way they had been brought up, they didn't feel like that was a choice that they could make.
Yeah.
So automatically they're thinking that career is not for me. I can't go down that route.
Oh, that's so sad.
And yet they could be so successful.
Yeah.
In doing it.
Yeah, of course.
And so obviously then my mum had to explain to them that it is possible and you can do it kind of thing, and motivate them a little bit, you know what I mean? And push them in the right direction. But you never know. But you don't know if that kid's going to go down that route, but you want it to be an option.
Yes. It's all about giving the options and not making it out like, oh yeah, you can only be, I know we're going off on a tangent here, but you can only be a teacher, accountant, a lawyer. A doctor. Sorry, I forgot doctor as well. You have to be a doctor, otherwise, what's the point of living? But yeah, these are only the only respectable professions.
Yeah,
I think pilot has come in there as well somehow. But these are the only respectable professions there are. Being a musician, don't you dare?
Yeah.
Why would you go and start playing
music?
Model?
Can you imagine model? Oh my God.
Yeah, literally. Oh my goodness, being a model. Oh my. Oh yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine the aunties talking now or the uncles talking now?
Yeah. Just the whole family.
Yeah, it's like shock, horror, and then let's search and stalk them on social media and find out exactly what they're posting.
Oh yeah. But I think, you know what, any career is possible now. Things have changed so much since generations before us. So why can't any career be possible?
Yeah, you're right, because I guess the roles have changed, and I touched on this earlier, but in terms of a woman's role in this society, so women are trying to progress their careers. They end up, studying, try and go for a career, and getting a good job, having a stable income, getting on that financial ladder. So they end up marrying later. But then the problem is when you end up marrying later, it's harder to find a partner because a girl that marries late in our society has passed her expiration date, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And she can't find a suitable boy because they've all been snatched up.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not even the boy that's saying that. It's the parents.
Yeah, it's the parents. Oh, she's over 25, don't you? Oh, no, her eggs aren't very fresh, are they anymore?
Yeah. Oh my God, the eggs are fresh story. Don't even get me started. My blood just boils.
But it's true though. And the thing is, on the other hand, there are still girls that are getting married really young because their families or maybe perhaps they themselves think, oh, we need to marry to settle down quickly, find a good partner because we don't want to wait till later, which means they might have been educated, but they haven't managed to, go for the career aspirations because they've gone down the settling in the family route, having a family, doing all that. Then they're financially dependent on their partner so that later on, if problems do occur, they don't have a way out.
Yeah.
Firstly, they don't have no independence. They don't have that self-security of having a job, having the qualifications to go out and do something without their partner because they're so financially dependent on them.
Yeah.
And to some extent, people do take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So what do? Do you marry late and potentially not have the partner and not have that family? or struggle and find the partner and struggle and find that family and that home life? Or do you marry earlier and not have that financial independence?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
Either way, you kind of lose. And that's unfair. Because boys don't have that issue. Boys can marry as late as they want. They need to not live their life and, go through all the experiences. But girls, they can't. They dare not live their life because, you want them to be as pure as anything.
Yeah, and your job is to get married and start a family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You draw the line right there.
Yeah, you can have your experiences after you're married.
Yeah. Do whatever you want with your husband. But in some cases as well, you can't even do that. Because people are judging you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for example, you're going on holiday.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If you're going on holiday. That's a big thing in itself. And it's like, I'm married. I've been married for 5 years almost. But still.
Exactly. But yes, you're right. The role of the husband and wife, like, it's changed so much. Especially through our generations now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am very fortunate that I can work full time and my husband looks after their kids for basically half of the week, and the other half they go to nursery because childcare is ridiculously expensive. But even that, it was a huge shock in the beginning to lots of people that I know that, oh, he's going to look after your kids. Why are you, you're basically throwing your kids on the side and going to work. No, I'm not throwing my kids. I'm giving them a role model. I'm giving them some aspirations.
Yeah.
And he's working as well, but he's working where he has a more flexible job, so he can work in different hours. Whereas my job isn't as flexible. I can't do like an evening of office work. It doesn't work like that. But so what if he's looking after their kids?
Yeah.
It's okay for me to look after the kids, but it's not okay for him. But they're his children, and he does not complain. He loves it.
But yet he's getting all the praise because he's doing something that technically he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But they're his kids. Yeah. They're his kids. So why I'm not saying that people shouldn't praise him, of course. But why do we praise men for doing jobs like cooking and looking after the kids and cleaning the bathroom or doing something? Why do we praise them?
Yeah.
They should be doing that. They should grow up to be independent and self-sufficient and look after themselves and look after their wife. Why shouldn't they look after their wives? We look after our husbands. Yeah,
and it all comes down to love. You love your husband, so you look after them. They love you, so they look after you. It works both ways. But it's like that's not sufficient. Love is not sufficient. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm hoping people can understand what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really difficult, isn't it? Like, we put them on such a high pedestal.
Yeah.
Men, I'm talking about. We put men on such a high pedestal that it's just like, where do we fit in?
No, we don't. Like, it's that cleaning the house, looking after the kids, doing all the chores, doing the laundry, doing the cooking, thinking about what activities the kids are going to do, or what activities you're going to do as a family for the week, meeting the in-laws, meeting your own family, having time for friends as well. All of that, well, I'll say 90% of that falls on a woman to organise and do.
Yeah.
Why can't it be more equally? If we are expecting women to work, and because now you need 2 incomes for a household to survive. If you're expecting women to contribute towards the financial aspects, then why can't men contribute towards the domestic aspects without it being a big thing?
Yeah. For example, with me and my husband, right? We're both working 9-to-5 jobs. We share responsibility in the house. And I think, alhamdulillah, we're quite fortunate in that way, where we have men who were brought up in the right way.
Yeah.
They were brought up and they know how to treat women.
Yeah.
For example, not all men are bad. We're not slandering them, of course. We're not saying that guys, we're not putting them into a category, essentially, and saying they're all like this. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying people need to think about how they're bringing up their children now, because times have changed. Like I was saying with myself and my husband, we share it. We share it because we love each other, and we don't want, like you said, we don't want to put that pressure on each other so that one of us is completely exhausted and the other one's just chilling.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want the other person to be burnt out. So going back to what I said earlier about going on holiday, when I was telling my husband about, I feel like as if I have to justify it and I have to like sort of earn my place to go on holiday, he was like, why? You do so much. Why do you have to feel like that? I'm not making you feel like that. So why are you feeling like that? And you're right, alhamdulillah, we are very fortunate to have partners like that. But our society needs to open their eyes and open their minds, because it's not fair. You're not bringing your children up, or you're not bringing your nieces, your nephews up with the right mentality.
Yeah. And you know, I think it's really funny because even when I got married, I feel like I was putting pressure on myself, as in my in-laws were not expecting me to do it, and they weren't expecting me to do cooking, to clean, to do all of that, blah blah blah, look after them, whatever. I automatically felt that was my role. That is what I needed to do. I needed to make sure I was doing all of these things. Nobody put that pressure on me. Okay, maybe one or two members of the family kind of expected it a little bit, but nobody put that pressure on me, and my husband certainly didn't put that pressure on me. But again, psychologically, that was in my brain.
Yeah.
It's like ingrained into us.
Yeah.
Because this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Because you grow up, you see other people getting married and how they behave in their families and how they're expected to behave. So automatically you just assume that is your role as well. You have to fit into that same mold. But it's not like that. And like going back to something else earlier when I said, bringing up our children, it's not even that, it's ourselves. We need to think ourselves that we don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to think like that anymore.
Yeah.
We should aim to treat ourselves with, I guess, a bit more empathy, and not burn ourselves out and burn ourselves to the ground trying to please everyone else, trying to fit into that perfect model type person, that domesticated housewife who looks after everything and looks after everyone and puts everyone first and puts yourself last.
But I think we almost feel like we're being selfish if we did that.
Yeah. It's that guilt factor, doesn't it?
It's the guilt.
And it's hard to break out of that. It's really hard. There's so much guilt and self-doubt and, not feeling worthy.
And I always feel like as well, it would help us so much if men called out other men on it. Like I'm not saying be rude to somebody, but if someone passed a comment, for example, about a woman's role or a woman's place.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't do no work. What's she doing all day at home anyway? She doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like another man would be able to justify better to another man, if that makes sense, why the behavior is wrong and what they said was wrong diplomatically.
Yeah, because it's not just the women, it's the men that allow others to, because there's a difference, isn't there? There's a difference between someone saying something and you listening to it and not saying anything at all. Sometimes that's almost worse, because when you don't say anything, you're letting that conversation continue, and the person who's talking automatically assumes that what they're saying is right.
Yeah, that goes back to my example with my work situation with the guy that didn't want to even speak to me. I was infuriated inside. My blood was boiling, but at that moment, I knew I had to keep calm and just say to him, well, you have this choice or that choice.
And were there other people around?
There were other people in the office.
Men and women.
And
no one else said anything.
No one else got involved.
That's horrible, isn't it? That's absolutely horrible. And no one stepped up to help. Or just not even helping. It's just step up to be a bit of a moral support.
Yeah. Like afterwards, everyone was so sympathetic. Like,
what's the point afterwards?
I know. But like, I just think at that moment, I don't even know if people thought I would react like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not that I was rude to him, because I wasn't. I just made my point very clearly.
Yeah. But I'm glad you did. I'm really glad you stood up for yourself. But I'm also sorry that you had to go through that. And it's sad that there were other people there and they didn't say anything. They didn't step up.
It's the same in your situation. No one addressed you, yet no one apologized for that.
Yeah, that's true.
They just dismissed you straight away.
Yeah, they didn't. They just literally, they just dismissed me. And you can see the look in their eyes that, they're taken aback. Oh, hold on, she's leading the meeting. And I know other women that have felt similarly, like other women that I know who are in senior positions. So, for example, I know someone who's a teacher and she's quite senior. So when she leads on a presentation, it's like, oh, was she introducing the presenter? But then when she's actually talking, it's like, oh, she's not introducing the presenter. She is the presenter.
Yeah.
But it's such a big thing, isn't it? It's such a big thing because women are timid. Women don't speak. Women should just sit down and,
fragile little things, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. They haven't met us, have they?
No, they haven't.
So as you know, I also bake part-time, and I've met so many lovely other small businesses who bake, create, craft, and some people that don't do any of those things, and they are women, and they are so supportive. That community is amazing.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, you will know as well.
Yeah.
And it's so lovely to see women supporting each other. They might be making exactly the same product as you, but they will support you, and they will share your posts, and they'll big you up, and they'll leave really wonderful positive comments, and it gives you that sort of belief that, hold on, you know what, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, people are supporting me. That means it just gives you a really like light, lovely feeling inside, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely.
And I just wish that more people could do that. Like, that is so easy to, it's also easy to troll people on the internet, but it's also so easy to, you know, leave a positive comment, leave a happy thought, make someone's day by smiling at them. Instead of questioning other people and questioning them and questioning their behavior, if they could just lift them up a little bit. Because if you're having a really bad day, you don't know what the other person's going through. Like, another person could be having a horrible day, and just by one positive comment, you could be making that person's day.
That's so true.
So why can't women support each other and lift each other up instead of bringing each other down?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on that. I think too many times we just think of each other so negatively, or we judge another woman just by looking at them. We have no idea what they're doing. Like, for example, you as a mum, right?
Mm-hmm.
If someone sees you doing something that they necessarily won't do, they're automatically judging you. Like, why is she doing that?
She's a bad mum.
She's a bad mum.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to look after her kids.
Yeah.
Or she doesn't know how to do such and such.
But think about if they saw you struggling a little bit and someone came up to you and said, "Are you okay? Do you need help?"
Yeah.
How much nicer would that make you feel?
Yeah, it is. And it's not hard to do. It's really easy to be kind to other people. It's not a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
You just have to sort of make that conscious effort to try and be kinder, and then it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel lighter as well. By making someone else's day, you will have a more positive experience as well at the end of it.
Yeah.
They say that if you like sort of make conversation with your, for example, you're going to get a cup of coffee and you make a conversation with your barista, you just ask them how the day is. Apparently, that has a long-lasting implication for the rest of your days. It's scientifically proven.
Wow.
So those little acts of kindness, it does have an effect on you for the rest of the day. So let's lift each other up, be more positive. Instead of bringing someone else down because you're having a crappy day, lift someone up so your day becomes better.
Yeah. And educate your children, sons and daughters alike.
Yeah.
Like, educate them about positivity and positive mental health and being kind to each other.
We hope you found this episode as interesting as we do. Do let us know if there are any sort of suggestions that you have on how to improve the perception of women or in our society, or any positive suggestions that you have, and also any experiences that you've undergone where women are treated inferior to men, or maybe you've had an opposite experience and we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for listening.
Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Not Your Typical Sister.
We would love to hear your thoughts and comments. You can leave us comments and reviews on whichever streaming service you are listening through.
Don't forget to join our tribe on Instagram and Facebook at Not Your Typical Sister.
Speak to you next time.